Let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Close your eyes if you like. And let yourself come into a relaxed yet alert state. Your spine being strong and upright. Your chest and heart open and vulnerable. And let yourself check in with your body. Just feeling deeply what is going on. Be aware of the muscles in your face, eyes relaxing. Your jaw letting go. If there's tightness in your neck and shoulders, allow your shoulders to drop. Be aware of your chest, the area of your heart, and allow breath to brush through ever so gently. Allow your belly to soften. Notice the solidity of your seat holding up your torso. Be aware of sensations in the back of your body. Arms, legs, your whole body being filled with presence. And notice your whole body being filled with presence, as well as the area around you. And notice the sensation and movement of your natural breath. Feeling the sensations of your in-breath and the sensations of your out-breath. sensations of your in-breath, sensations of your out-breath. Letting go, until the next breath brushes in naturally. Breath arising out of this field within and around you. Being aware of each instant of breath as it arises, and each instant of breath as it falls. Letting go until the next breath brushes in naturally. Breath arising with the in-breath, falling with the out-breath. Falling back into this field of presence until the next breath brushes in naturally. Delighting into the sensation and movement of your natural breath. Being aware of every moment, completely present. Breath arising out of this field of becoming and falling back into it. Surrendering to the natural movement of breath. and allow your body to be breathed. For breath to breathe you. Surrendering to the movement of breath. And when there are thoughts, feelings, images, worries, comments, just make a note of them and gently return to the sensation and movement of your refuge, touchstone, the sensation of body and breath. Always remembering to return over and over again to this moment of now. The moment of in-breath and the moment of out-breath. Being here now. And hold yourself with patience, kindness, caring. In this confusing, uncertain time. Hold your mind and heart with a sense of compassion. Always gently and kindly returning to your touchstone, refuge. The sensation of body and breath. the moment of now. Breath arising with the in-breath, letting go with the out-breath. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Until the next breath brushes in naturally. Letting your body, heart, mind, soul to be breathed. And open your eyes. And let's invite Michael in.
Everybody, good morning. So nice to see you all. And I want to follow on from what Radhule's just been teaching and leading us through in sort of quieting the mind and opening the heart. And where I'd like to go next is really the idea of how we can tapping into wellness, how we can tap into what's already well, what's already healthy, what's already thriving, and that is there in the midst of all the illness and uncertainty and difficulties. There's also a deeper wellness. And one of the ways into that deeper wellness is through our connection with the natural world. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and give a little talk, first of all, and then lead you through a practice on mindful nature connection. So I'm going to share with you some images as I talk. Let's see. Okay. So mindful nature connection, or mindful earth connection, as we'll come to explore. First of all, just want to think with you, what are we talking about here? Because surely nature connection is just how it is, who we are. And in a way, that's right. But part of the problem, in a way, is that we're not aware of this. So what does nature connection mean? Well, we're all alive and sitting here because we are nature connected, and because we're nature connected through every breath. Every breath is an exchange between our bodies and all the oxygen creating plants and trees and grasses and algae, all creating oxygen. And this exchange between the carbon dioxide we breathe out and the oxygen the trees breathe out, this exchange is what's keeping us alive. We're alive and we're well because we're inextricably connected with nature. But the thing is that that connection with nature is usually unconscious. We're not aware of it. It happens. It's happening with every breath. It's happening in every moment, but we're not aware of it. And so what nature connection describes is something transformative, maybe, one could say almost a transformative alchemy that happens when we bring our mindfulness, our mindful awareness to our sensory engagement with the natural world. So it's really a process of paying attention through our senses to a natural process or other than human being. What's really important is the attitude we bring to this. And just really briefly, as we're talking about this in a very brief way, but just to say the attitudes that are important here are respect, openness, receptivity, and gratitude. And I think respect is really key. A sense that it's not that we're better than other beings or other natural processes. There is a tendency for us humans to really think of ourselves as the center of the universe, at the center of the planet, but also the center of the universe, or the pinnacle of evolution. And maybe that's true in certain respects, but another way, and I think a more accurate way of seeing it, is that we're all equal, and we're all different, and we all bring something else into the circle of our world. And so that attitude of respect for the gift and the otherness that each being brings, and with that, a willingness to be surprised, what's sometimes referred to as beginner's mind, not going in saying, oh, well, I know what's going to happen here, but actually as if you're going into the forest to paint with a blank page, and you don't quite know what's going to emerge. That sort of openness. And we can think of nature connection, mindful nature connection, as an internal process, an inner process. And the mindfulness of breathing practice that Radhule just led us through is a process of inner mindful nature connection. An outer nature connection or mindful nature connection is where we come to when we're in the outer natural world through our senses. So I just want to kind of very briefly just kind of lead you through a 7-step, very simple practice for coming into mindful nature connection. The suggestion is that you first of all wander about in the natural world until you find a spot where you'd like to be. Now this, if you're confined to your home right now, this might be on your balcony, or this might be in your backyard. Or if you can't even get outside onto the balcony or the backyard, this might be looking through the window at the clouds or at a tree in the distance. And, if you are out and about, find somewhere safe and comfortable where you can sit and stand. And then look around, listen, kind of just notice where you are. Take in the sense of place where you've landed. And then in that place, choose a being. I mean, there may be a plant there, maybe a tree, there may be some flowing water, there may be a star, there may be a bird, there may be a rock. Choose a being, a process, or an aspect of this place that you're going to engage with through your senses. And then this is the kind of central practice. You then, having chosen what aspect or being or process you're going to engage with, you first of all notice its particularities, its color, its texture, its the quality of its movement, and so on. You kind of take in its peculiarities, something that makes this leaf that you're looking on different to the leaf next to it. Take in first of all the particularities. Then the suggestion is to choose one of your senses. So this could be seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, or tasting. And if you choose sight, if you choose seeing, look at whatever your chosen being, process is, imagining that you're looking through owl's eyes, wide open, receptive eyes. Or if your chosen sense of engagement is hearing, close your eyes and bring all your attention to your ears, and just imagine you have deer's ears, these huge cups that are open and swiveling and just taking in all the sounds in the landscape that are coming towards you. Or if your chosen sense of engagement is touching, imagine that in this part of the world, we'd imagine raccoons' finger pads. Well, that's not a possibility in Ireland, but imagine, I'm not sure what being has particularly sensitive finger pads. You could talk about that afterwards. A gecko, or maybe some little being with very sensitive finger pads. Or if your chosen sense is smelling or tasting, again, close your eyes and bring all your attention to your kind of slightly opened mouth and breathe in and see if you can taste or smell the air in the forest or wherever you are. In each instance, what you're doing is you imagine that you're opening the door of that chosen sense wide, wide open door. And then that you welcome whatever comes towards you unconditionally, just as it is. So it's not about interpreting the sounds or the sights or the smells or whatever. It's saying, oh, that's, smells nice or not. It's not that, or that's this particular type of bird or whatever. That's, that's interesting and that's something else. But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is just the raw sensation. So if your chosen sense is hearing, and you just open the doors of your hearing wide, and through your deer's ears, you receive whatever sounds are coming towards you unconditionally, and you allow yourself to experience that, consciously allowing yourself to experience what you're experiencing. And this is one of my favorite philosophers and writers, the Irish writer John Moriarty, who passed away in 2007. But he talks about heroism, and he says that, we think of the hero as somebody, the old Irish hero was somebody who went out like Cuchulainn went out with his sword, and he just took on any enemy. And he even in one story, he takes on the waves of the rising tide that are coming in. So his whole attitude is to go into life with his sword raised, battling whatever he needs to battle. But what Moriarty says is, I think, really important here for nature connection. He says the new kind of hero is not someone who goes out and battles the waves. The new kind of hero is somebody who lays down his sword and lets nature happen to him. The new kind of hero lays down his sword and lets nature happen to him. So that's what we're talking about here at the very center of the mindful nature connection process, is mindfully allowing nature to happen to us. And so that's the sixth. And then the seventh and final part is when you're ready to leave, notice any feelings of gratitude that you have for what you've just experienced. And that is sort of an honoring practice as you take your leave, is simply to allow yourself to experience that sense of gratitude as you bow towards the place and take your leave. And so I just wanted to reflect with you, what can happen through mindful nature connection? Well, I talked about it at the beginning as a process of tapping into wellness, tapping into the wellness that's already there. Richard Louv talks about that as vitamin N, as we say in Ireland, or vitamin N, as we say here. The poet E.E. Cummings says it's about the leaping greenly spirit of things, this incredible vitality that we are part of. But because we live so often in the delusion of separateness, we just don't access this incredible resource that's there for us. Pardon?
And now we experience that even more, just as the world is recovering.
Right. Exactly.
Feels more leaping and greenly now.
That's true. We were walking on the beach last night, and we were just looking up at the stars and just noticing how bright they are these days. There just seems the air, pollution in this part of the world has never been that bad, thankfully. Obviously, further south in LA, it's been hugely problematic. But anyway, it just seems like the sky is brighter, the stars are brighter, the greens are greener. The other thing that nature connection does is it takes us out of our little circle of separateness into connection. And by doing that, it sort of dilutes the pain. Pain in isolation is suffering. So that if we come into deeper connection, as we can through mindful nature connection, it takes the sting out of our pain. And it brings us into a sense of deep belonging and deep security. We talked about deep security last week. It allows us to experience the aliveness, the coherence, the intelligence, and the agency of other than human nature, which is deeply reassuring to know that it's not all up to us. We're not the only ones who have to carry this because we're the only sentient beings. There are other sentient beings all around us who are also carrying all of this. It allows us to experience ourselves as we really are, our deep identity as interdependent, mutually co-arising interbeings. And finally, it lessens our fear of death. And I wanted to just read you this. One of my favorite quotes is this little piece from Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen Buddhist, who says, we are water. And his reflection goes, a wave on the ocean has a beginning and an end, a birth and a death. But Avalokito tells us that the wave is empty. The wave is full of water, but it's empty of separate self. A wave is a form that's been made possible thanks to the existence of wind and water. If a wave only sees its form with its beginning and end, it'll be afraid of birth and death. But if the wave sees that it is water and identifies itself with the water, then it will be emancipated from birth and death. Each wave is born and is going to die, but the water is free from birth and death. And this is where deep nature connection brings us. It brings us into our identity as water. And as water or as ocean, we can watch everything that's arising and everything that is as a wave that's arising on the ocean, that we are part of, that we are deeply connected to. So as we remember who we really are, interdependent, mutually arising interbeings, we may notice certain things happening. We may notice that we're less fearful, that we somehow have more courage, which is more open-heartedness. We may also notice a growing desire to do all that we can to free those we care about from suffering and to promote their happiness. because the more deeply connected we are with others and with the natural world, the more we'll care. The more connection, the more caring, and the more caring, the more we long to act, to do what we can to help. So I want to lead you now in a little practice that sort of comes from that. And to begin, we can begin with this image, because I'm going to begin by asking you to imagine yourself wandering in a forest. So I invite you just to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, allow your awareness to drop down into your body and all the way down to the ground, all the way down to the sensations of firmness and solidity, the sensations of contact between your feet and the ground, your feet and the earth, your seat and the chair you're sitting on, the cushion you're sitting on. And for just a few moments, allow your awareness to drop into those sensations of firmness and solidity. When you're ready, allow your awareness to rise up and fill the whole space of your body, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, mindfully aware. And as you're mindfully aware within your body, notice where in your body you're most aware of the sensations of breath. Maybe the rise and fall of the belly, maybe the rise and fall of your chest. It may be the subtle flow of air moving in and out of your nostrils. Wherever you're most aware of the sensations of breath, allow your awareness to alight on the sensations of breath like a feather on a wave. And allow your awareness to rise with the sensations of the rising breath. And allow your awareness to drop with the sensations of the falling breath. Awareness rising with the sensations of the rising breath. And allowing your awareness to fall with the sensations of the falling breath. And bring all your attention to the sensations of the falling breath. And with the falling breath, release and let go. Let go of any thoughts, anything you're holding on to. just for now, let go with the sensations of the falling breath. Letting go, letting go, letting go. All the way through the falling breath. Even beyond the end of the falling breath, continuing to let go, to let go, to let go. Until the next breath flows in effortlessly. As the body comes up for air. Like a whale in an ocean of calm. Letting go with the falling breath. Letting go, letting go, letting go. All the way through the falling breath. And even beyond the end of the falling breath, continuing to let go, to let go. Until the next breath flows in effortlessly. As the body breathes. All by itself. And allow yourself to be carried on the effortless flow of the body's breathing. And now, as your body continues to breathe, I invite you in your mind's eye, in your imagination, to imagine you're standing in the heart of a forest. Your feet are bare, standing on the earth, standing on the leaves beneath your feet. And I invite you in your imagination to open your eyes and to look around you. Looking around, seeing the trees ahead of you. And as you turn from one side to another, perhaps turn in a circle, see how you're surrounded by trees on all sides. And when you find a tree that calls to your attention, I invite you to pause, to stand before that tree. And I invite you to open the doors of your vision wide as you take in every detail. The trunk, how the trunk enters the earth, the bark, the color of the bark, branches, how the branches reach up into the sky, the leaves, the needles, the colors, the texture, the movement. And simply take in through the open door of your vision, through your owl's eyes. Allow yourself to receive what you're receiving, to experience what you're experiencing. And if your mind comes in with comments, questions, objections, for now, let go of that. Relax And allow your awareness to fall back into your body and into your seeing what you're seeing. And simply receive. When you have a sense of this, I invite you, still in your mind's eye, the center of the forest, imagine closing your eyes as you bring all your awareness now to your sense of hearing. And I invite you to listen into the forest, listen into the landscape. Imagine your ears are deer's ears, big cups that can swivel to the front, to the back, to the side. Cups that are open to receiving even the quietest sound that's coming towards you. And allow yourself for just a little while to hear what you're hearing. When you've a sense of this, I invite you to once more open your eyes. And I invite you now to reach out your hand, one of your hands, if you need to take a few steps to get closer to the tree, so that you can place the palm of your hand on the bark of the tree, on the trunk of the tree. And imagine placing your hand on the bark of the tree. And imagine how the palm of your hand is wide open, open to receiving. And imagine that the pads on the tips of your fingers are full of touch receptors, so sensitive. And imagine each one is an open door to receiving, wide open receiving what touch is coming towards you. The roughness or the smoothness, the warmth or the coolness, the dryness, the damp, the soft moss on the lining of the bark. Just noticing texture, temperature, moisture, and just receiving. And if your mind comes in with labels or comments, for now, let go of that and simply come back to the raw sensing what you're sensing. And allow nature to happen to you. Allowing all the sensations to flow through your open senses. Wide open doors, receptive, allowing. Allowing yourself to be fully part of this interflowing web. Allowing all this energy and information to flow through you. Senses wide open, receiving, allowing. Letting nature happen to you. And when you're ready, I invite you to imagine opening your eyes once more in the heart of the forest and looking at this tree in front of you. This tree who's just been with you on this journey into interbeing. And I invite you to find whatever way feels right to take your leave. Noticing how your heart feels. Noticing how your mind is. Just resting in this for just a few moments. And may all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings everywhere be free. And may I become all that I need to become to best enable this to happen for all our relations. Well, thank you all very much for taking part in that. If anybody would like to share anything, we can just...
Or if you don't want to speak, you can also, with the chat box, write a question or a comment in. So either one of those. We love to hear from you.
Mike, could I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Thank you both for a great meditation. Firstly, very practically, could you post this again as a recording?
Recorded.
Oh, it's recorded, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you record it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's recorded. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well,
I
that's
can see that.
because I know Sarah and Simone would love, who couldn't be tune in, would love to listen to it. The other thing is, I wanted to ask you briefly about the question of raw experience. You know, in experiencing whatever, the air or the tree or any of the senses, because I wonder how that sort of consorts with the use of images, like the owl's eyes and the deer's ears and the raccoon's finger pads, which I found incredibly helpful in sort of opening my senses to that experience. through imagination, and when you talked about you and Radley seeing the stars as you're walking, I can see the stars because I'm imagining you walking. And you say, you know, imagine yourself a feather on the wave. I can feel that rising and descending of breath because I'm the feather on the wave. So those images seem to be kind of mediations that open the senses, because it's not yourself. You're kind of going through something else, like the deer or the owl or the raccoon, or any of those images, the tree in the forest. And I just wonder, is the imagination a way into raw experience? Or, you know, how do you kind of render the two compatible?
Well, yeah, I mean, this whole guided imagery, this whole practice was a practice in guided imagination. So it really is working exactly as you suggest, working with imagery. And, somebody's talked about, you know, the value of kind of, rather than just saying, look at the forest, imagine you've got, you know, you're looking to owl's eyes, or listen to the forest, imagine you've got deer's ears, that it somehow brings us into storytelling mind. You know, it brings us into a different kind of sensibility that the imagination seems to be what, you know, the bridge there seems to be what brings us there. So absolutely. Do you want to add to that?
Well, I think it's all coming into the moment of now, you know, and whatever trick can help us to intensify the experience of nowness. But I actually want to throw the question back to you, Richard. Richard is Michael's brother. He teaches philosophy in Boston. So Richard, give us 2 minutes of what you think.
Well, no, I'd much prefer to hear other people ask other questions. But no, it's something I'm actually working on at the moment. I'm doing a little book on touch. So I'm interested how each of the senses, including the tactile, has its own imaginary, its own symbolism.
Yeah.
And whether there is such a thing as totally unmediated stroke raw experience, or whether there's always some filtering, not imposed by our own sort of subjective minds, but an imaginary that we can take on, for example, from nature. So that's just a question I have. But one other quick rejoinder, because I know other people. Those images of the owl and the deer and the raccoon, are they your own, or are they Native American sort of wisdom traditions?
They're not my. I mean, I've learned them from my teacher in mindful nature connection is a man called John Young, and he's got actually a wonderful book called The Coyote's Guide to Nature Connection, and he offers all kinds of imaginary ways into nature connection. And really, I get that sort of languaging. I build on it myself, but really the kind of teaching comes from
Is he Native American, John Young?
No, he's not. He actually, by the way, I just saw the other day, if anybody wants to do a little research, is interested, he just gave a TED talk the other day on how nature connection can be so helpful in this time of social isolation.
But, you know, I wanted to add one more thing in terms of imagery and sensation and the present moment. Because I just remember, you know, I was always somebody who's usually in their mind, in their head, you might say. And when I started meditating in 1980 in Sri Lanka, for me, the huge discovery was that I actually was able to be in the present moment through sensation. And then later, I came through imagery, through actually our common friend, Robbie Bosnack, the dream worker, who brings in imagery and sensation and the present moment. He uses sensation as embodied imagery to come to this moment, because this is the mystical moment, the moment where there is timelessness and formlessness, where the chronological and the eternal meet. That's where we all want to get to. You know, that's where the great mystery is. And I think, Richard, you're completely right. And Michael, you too, with your nature connection, imagery and sensation together in an embodied way can bring us to this, to the great mystery.
Kind of makes me think in some ways that in some ways that you know, sensation is, it only exists in the present moment. You know, this, you can have memory of sensation or you can anticipate sensation, but just raw sensation, just sensing sensation can only happen in the present moment. But I wonder if it somehow seems that combining that with imagination somehow heightens that.
It intensifies.
Intensifies it.
That's the whole trick of.
It's got a sort of,
Yeah.
a sort of catalytic effect. But Rich, thanks so much for that. And I just want to see if anybody else has any other comments or questions. I'd love to take a long walk up Romero Canyon Trail and talk more about this, but soon.
I can add a little bit about that idea of perception and imagination. I found in my meditation practice, a lot of times using my imagination and kind of like the third eye kind of area with physical sensations, it would really enhance me being aware of present tense, you know, physicality, like visualizing, you know, my heart, for instance, and then really being more in tune presently of my heart. But that whole idea of visualization, imagination, and almost kind of intention and faith added to present tense sensation. I've had a lot of really what felt like more of present tense positive meditation experiences by using that imagination.
I really love that, what you just said, Kelly. I've been thinking about that recently, how besides imagination and sensation, the longing, and longing is connected with faith, you know, with a, you know, we all want to kind of connect to the mystical more, you know, that we can't wrap our mind around. And I think imagination, sensation, and longing is really so powerful in getting us closer to home. Which is right here, in a paradox way.
I wanted to say again how wonderful it is to have the balance of you two as a couple who hold a kindred paradigm within two different paradigms. And then I just wanted to say I was really surprised at the facilitation and Michael's journey. I didn't immediately go to a tree, but a desert appeared, and it was a really beautiful journey. And in the desert, swallowing all of the sand that became this whirlpool that opened up to the cosmos, and finding my tree at the end of the journey that was not like a tree here on earth, and a sense of my whole body becoming, it was like this long silver trunk, and then the body just became its foliage. So I want to thank you for facilitating such a great journey.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you all very much. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Anne.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Elaine.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Ethna.
I was wondering there.
Oh, there's
And Jackie and Callie and Sarah and Elaine and Richard, and it's wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you for your meditation.
Oh, you're welcome.